Good morning, everyone. Today is 11th day of November 2024. As I speak to you now, the President of Nigeria, Tinubu, is in Saudi Arabia. In this video, I stand to be corrected. Until Nigeria is divided, Nigeria is not an Islamic nation, no matter how far people try to push it, no matter the narrative. Now, following the emergence of Trump, the Muslim world, the Islamic states, they are troubled because of all this war between the Israel and Iran. And Iran is using Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and so many other rebel teams to fight their war. That is what they normally do. They use proxies to fight war. Now, the Arab world are meeting in Saudi Arabia, and the Islamic State, they want to have a resolution how they can proffer peace, because they know that Trump always supports the cause of Israel. But however, Trump does not support Israel against any state. Remember when Trump was president, he brokered what they called Abrahamic Accord, where people come to sign peace deal with Israel and so on. And there was peace in the Middle East. I think they should expect something like that. Now, that is not what I want to say in this video. The invitation sent to Islamic states, I'm surprised that it was sent to Nigeria. And Bola Tinubu is now in Saudi Arabia for the peace in the Middle East. Nigeria is not in the Middle East. The only criteria that led Tinubu to represent Nigeria there is because Nigeria is termed as Islamic State. That will take you back to what that Yoruba man, Professor Kunde Ondawumi, who was a former Navy commander and former head of Nigeria Intelligence Agency, when he categorically stated that Nigeria must, he used that statement, Nigeria must be divided. And when he was asked by the anchor of the interview from the Chinese television, do you think it is very possible that in this heterogeneous culture we have in Nigeria, that people can come out and Islamize this country? How is it possible? Are they going to force us? And that Umi said something that I love so much. Listen to what he said.
East, Abu Anudua Federal Constituency, River State. I want to get his words. He said personal matters that was envisaged, he says, by the people who drafted this constitution. And I want to quote him. The implication is, if the word personal is removed, Islamic law would have broader implications. The word personal was put there for a reason. Let's talk a bit about this whole conversation about Islamizing the country with our population and our dynamics. You know, is it possible that someone can sneak this in at some point and force all of us under some sort of regulation that we do not ascribe to? Is it possible that this can happen in this country?
It is possible, and don't be deceived. It's going to happen. It is possible, and don't be deceived. It's going to happen. It is possible, and don't be deceived. It's going to happen.
Yes, it is possible. Do not be deceived. And all these things will not be happening, and you expect someone like me to keep quiet. You expect us to keep quiet. It's not going to happen now. It's not going to happen. And during the course of this interview, there is something Onlawumi said. He said he's afraid because they are speaking now, but he don't know whether the next generation will be able to speak forth. Onlawumi, I am here to tell you that the next generation will be more sophisticated than your generation, because we are not going to allow such a thing to happen. We love everybody. Like I used to say, I can go to every country in the world. I can go for vacation. I can go there and spend time, but it is not normal for me to be able to leave every country in the world, because cultures differs, tradition differs, religion differs, the way of life differs. If your way of life is not the same with the way of life of the country you are living, that is their custom and culture, you cannot be compatible. And that is the problem. And that is the problem we are having in Nigeria here. We are brothers. We are supposed to be living in peace. You see Cameroon, Nigeria live in peace with Cameroon, with Cotonou, Benin Republic, with Ghana, with Niger, you see. But we in Nigeria, we are not living in peace because there is a falsehood that we are one. And we are not meant to be one. We are not created one. We are never one before the amalgamation. So it is very clear, and I want people to understand what I'm saying, that Tinubu is representing Nigeria as an Islamic state in Saudi Arabia. As I speak to you, Tinubu is in Saudi Arabia. He's using the taxpayers' money. He's using the resources that we don't have with the new private jet enjoying himself in Saudi Arabia. But I am subject to correction if you think that what I'm saying is not true as it is. But from the information in my own disposal, that is what I'm saying. Now, Tinubu going to Saudi Arabia to broker peace or to talk about peace in Saudi Arabia, is so, I don't know the adjective I want to use to quantify the move, because it is so delusional in the sense that your state, your country has no peace. There is war in your country more than the war in Gaza. What are you going there to talk about? There is trouble in your country more than the war in Ukraine. Only thing different is that the war in Ukraine is open. The war in Gaza is open. But the war in Nigeria is not open. The number of people dying in your country, no statistics can carry it. The number of people dying from this ethnic nation, nobody is talking about it. And I think if we have a good journalist who will ask Tinubu question. You are here because for the peace of the Middle East. What about the peace in your country? Your country, they forbid peace. Nigeria, they forbid peace. People in Nigeria, then they forbid peace. The other day, the Vice President Kashim Shettima was at the United Nations, and he was talking so sensible. Yeah, he was talking so sensible, telling the United Nations that the freedom of indigenous people is their inherent right, that they can't stop it. That is why states like Palestine should have their independent states. And I am laughing. I was laughing actually because you see, anything you are doing, first settle your house. But what is happening in Nigeria is that there are a lot of agitation and people want to go in their separate ways. And Kashim Shettima is saying that Nigeria is non-negotiable, that restructuring itself is not something that they will do. There is no need for restructuring. Nigeria will not divide. And you went to United Nations and tell them that the freedom of people is their right, their inherent right, that people have the right to divide, people have the right to do this and do that. Come on. Who is deceiving who? I don't just understand how black men think. If you go to so many countries that are stable now, when you go to Europe, you see some countries like you have 6 million, 20 million, countries that Edo State is bigger than, Delta State is bigger than, Lagos State is bigger than. They are countries. You see like Vatican City, very little population. You see like San Marino, they are not up to 1 million and 2 million people. But they are country. They are country, no airport. Because the freedom of the people is their inherent right. People must be free, and there is no how we will continue to live in the illusion. We are living in falsehood. I want to officially tell you people that don't know that Nigeria actually is an Islamic state. We are practicing everything the Islamic State is practicing. We have the Sharia in Nigerian constitution. We have Christians in our country, no ecclesial law in the constitution or canon code in the constitution. We have Jews, the Jewish people in the country. They are about 5% of Nigerian population. No Jewish law in their in their constitution, in the constitution of Nigeria. We have the indigenous traditional people. The traditional people who owns everything before these foreigners started coming to Nigeria. Yes, they don't have any law in the constitution. But look at where we are. The native Sharia we have in constitution, people are still trying to expand it and to do all those things. So I'm not saying this because of any other thing, but it is important we say the truth as it is. If you like, be plain blind. If you like, think that what I'm saying doesn't make sense. But you know what? When people spoke about this in 2002, they said before 2024 that Nigeria will not be a place to live. And what they said is true. And I'm here telling you that before 2030, everybody will be looking for a way to run to if what I'm saying is not settled. I am Okochabi Masam, a political blogger who talks reality out of issues. See you on my next video. Stand up.